please. Let's begin.
If you want to learn more about how to count the beats in simple and compound time signatures and why the notes are grouped in a particular way, keep watching. These are all the time signatures you need to understand for up to and including ABRSM Grade 5 theory. We're going to take a look at practical examples of counting beats in some of these time signatures, starting with the time signatures of 4/4 and 6/8, and eventually making our way to 12/8. In 4/4, the numbers tell us the outline of our bar is 4 crotchets or quarter notes. Here is an example of this bar. In 6/8, the numbers tell us the outline of our bar is 6 quavers or eighth notes. Here is an example of this bar. In 4/4, there are 4 crotchet beats. I'm going to show you the general pattern of the conductor's arm movements which would define these 4 beats. You wouldn't believe how many secrets conductor's arm movements give away in relation to simple time and compound time beats and note groupings. I have shown each arm movement as a straight line, but the conductor's arm movements would be much freer than this in practice and will have some curves to their movement. A conductor would define beat 1 as a downward movement. Beat 2 would be defined as a move to the left. Beat 3 would be defined as a move to the right, and beat 4 would be a move upwards and to the left, to reach the point at where we began. The important thing to notice here is that the conductor has 1 arm movement per crotchet. Here it is using a baton. Try conducting along with me to In the Hall of the Mountain King. Let's set it playing and then we'll join in conducting after a count of 4. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to look at compound time using a time signature of 6/8. A time signature of 6/8 is made up of 6 quavers. However, unlike the 4 crotchets in 4/4 time, a conductor does not have an arm movement for each of the 6 quavers. In 6/8 time, we group the 6 quavers into threes like this. Beat 1 starts on the first set of 3, and beat 2 starts on the second set of 3. Each of these 2 beats is equivalent to a dotted crotchet. The conductor has an arm movement for each of these 2 beats. Down for beat 1 and the first 3 quavers or first dotted crotchet, and up for beat 2 and the second group of 3 quavers or second dotted crotchet. Let's watch this with the conductor's baton. Try conducting along with me to Morning Mood. Let's set it playing and then we'll join in conducting after 2 lots of 2. Ready? 1, 2, 1, 2. Having just 2 arm movements for 6 quavers helps the orchestra to follow their music correctly and stay in time with the conductor. However, sometimes the 2-beat down-up pattern is broken up to show the individual quavers like this. Here's the same thing shown with a baton. You can clearly see that this is pretty much a broken up version of the 2-beat down-up pattern, rather than a completely different pattern of 6 individual beats. The whole point of a conductor is to direct the orchestra and keep everyone in time. Therefore, it's important to have clear beat directions. Now, have you ever Googled what a time signature of 6/8 actually means? I think there are always 2 different answers given to this question. Either it tells you that 6/8 has 6 quaver beats per bar, or it tells you it has 2 dotted crotchet beats per bar. And this quandary formed a lot of discussion on social media. Well, I want to show you why I consider 6/8 to have 2 dotted crotchet beats per bar, rather than 6 quaver beats per bar. So bear with me. When we are taught about time signatures, we are usually told that the top number refers to the number of beats in a bar, and the bottom number tells us what type of note forms the beat. This works perfectly in a simple time signature such as in 4/4, where the top number is 4, telling us how many beats are in each bar, and the bottom number is also 4, which tells us our beat is made of crotchets or quarter notes. This links with the conducting pattern perfectly, noticing that every beat has an entirely different conducted direction. Now we come to 6/8, which is conducted with 2 beats per bar, down for beat 1 and up for beat 2. This is working perfectly so far, as we have different directions for different beats, just like we saw in 4/4. If the top number actually represents the number of beats and the bottom number represents the type of note which forms the beat, then in 6/8 we have 6 quaver beats. But we are also told that we have 2 dotted crotchet beats. Bear with me and let's assume for a second that we have 6 beats per bar in 6/8. This would mean that we would need 6 entirely different conductor directions, just the way that 4/4 had 4 different beat directions. For the purpose of this video, I made up 6 different beat directions. But this looks entirely different from how we know we conduct a time signature of 6/8. Let's have a look at all 3 in motion. Let's try conducting a faster tempo 6/8 piece with all 3 versions of our conductor directions and see which one is the clearest. Personally, I think an orchestra would be able to follow any of these beat directions, although I think the conducting pattern with the 6 different beat directions might get a little tiring for the conductor, but to be honest, I think the 2-beat pattern which is broken up might also get a little tiring for the conductor. If 6/8 time has 2 dotted crotchet beats per bar, then we can easily work out that 12/8 time signature has 4 dotted crotchet beats per bar. And this is how it is conducted, using exactly the same pattern as the time signature of 4/4, with 1 arm direction per dotted crotchet beat. However, if the top number actually indicates the number of beats in a bar and the bottom number indicates the type of note that forms the beat, then 12/8 time signature must have 12 quavers or half note beats in it. And judging by what we've ascertained so far, each of these quaver beats must have a different arm direction, like this. This looks more like a maze to me. Or should it be conducted with a broken up version of the 4-beat direction like we saw with 6/8? OK, time to see which is the clearest. Here we go. Now it makes sense why the quavers are grouped into dotted crotchet beats in compound time. Do you remember when I showed you all of the time signatures you need to know for up to and including ABRSM Grade 5 theory at the start of the video? Well, all of these time signatures are conducted with either 2, 3 or 4 arm movements, as each of these time signatures has either 2, 3 or 4 beats per bar. The time signatures with 2 beats per bar are called simple or compound duple. The time signatures with 3 beats per bar are called simple or compound triple. And the time signatures with 4 beats per bar are called simple or compound quadruple. But why do we have 3 notes per beat in compound time? Well, clearly the first reason is that the conductor's arm might fall off otherwise. Secondly, as we have seen, it would be impossible for an orchestra to follow the conductor's direction if the conductor has an arm direction per note. Thirdly, counting to 9 or 12 repeatedly would be mentally exhausting. Also, the numbers 6, 9 and 12 are all divisible by 3, so it makes sense to divide the beat into 3 in all compound time signatures. This method works for both fast and slow music, although in compound time, a conductor may indicate some extra parts to the count when music is slower. At a fast tempo, grouping notes in this way follows the natural emphasis created by the music. Lastly, it matches the natural sway of the music and how you would tap your foot or clap. If you tapped every note, your foot might fall off, just like the conductor's arm. Oops.